Hi, boys and girls. Happy Monday. For the last 2 weeks, we've been talking about social studies, and you all have done a wonderful job learning about economics. But today, and for the rest of this week, we are going to switch and start learning about science. So we're just going to jump right in and get started. What are the basic needs of this animal? What are the basic needs of that animal? How about plants? Do they have the same basic needs as animals do? Well, if you said yes, you are correct. So give yourself a pat on the back. All living things have the same basic needs. Although plants meet their basic needs in a way that's a little bit different from us and from animals. So right now, we're going to start talking about what those basic needs of a plant are. So what are a plant's needs? Well, they first need water. They also need nutrients. Now, this is where plants are a little bit different from people or animals. They don't get their nutrients from eating food like we do. They get their nutrients by creating it themselves. Plants also need plenty of oxygen. They need sunlight. And they need space. Now, I know I put a picture of outer space, but they need space to grow, a place where they have plenty of room to spread out. So what does a plant that's getting all of its needs met look like? Well, let's take a look at these pictures that come next to see what plants look like when they have their nutrients, water, sunlight, air, and space to grow. Now, how could we describe those plants that we just saw that have all of their needs met? We could say they're green, they're healthy, they're flowering, they're leafy, they're strong, they're tall. All of those words we could use to describe those plants where all of their needs are being met. But what happens if there's a plant that has some of its needs not being met? What do you think that would look like? Well, boys and girls, what we're going to do now is look at an experiment that another class did. They started with healthy plants from a store, but what they did was take away one need from each plant. So there's a plant that didn't get any air, a plant that had no nutrients, a plant that had no sunlight, and a plant that had no space, and a plant with no water. And what we'll do is look at what that plant started out as and what it ended up looking like after 2 weeks without one of its basic needs. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. So this is what the plants looked like when we bought them from the store before we took away one of their basic needs. This plant will have all of its needs met just so we're able to see how the plant would normally grow. This is in the beginning. And this is what our plant looks like after 2 weeks with all its needs being met. Notice how the plant grew way above the popsicle stick. This plant will have no water. Every other need will be met, but we won't be watering it to see what happens. After 2 weeks, the plant looks kind of shriveled up and its leaves started to brown. This is our plant that will get no sunlight. It'll be kept in a cupboard where it can't even reach the sun. After 2 weeks, the plant did grow, but it looks awfully yellow and brown, and there aren't any flowers anymore. This is our plant that has no nutrients. For it to have no nutrients, we took away all of the soil, which is where the roots absorb the nutrients. After 2 weeks, the flowers have disappeared and the leaves are brown and yellow. This plant has no space to grow. We've filled it with so many plants that it doesn't have room to spread out. Let's see what happens. After 2 weeks, the same has happened where the plant leaves are starting to get yellow and the flowers have disappeared. This plant was kept in a Ziploc bag. It will get no air for 2 weeks, and we'll see how it grows. After 2 weeks, the plant's leaves look very shriveled, and it's very close to the top and hasn't grown very much. Now that we've finished talking about plants, I'd like you to go ahead and finish your Google Classroom assignment on plants. You'll be filling in the What I've Learned part of your Plants KWL chart. All right, boys and girls, see you tomorrow.